Hi there, I'm John from CNCKing.com, and today we're going to cut out a polycarbonate guitar template. My company's actually done quite a bit of work with the guitar businesses in general. Generally what we do is the templates, and then the people who manufacture them use them as a router template. Generally what we use for that is MDF, but in this case here, because of the customer wanted it to be transparent, and they wanted to use it a lot, so we went with 1/4" polycarbonate. So this is with the masking removed. So this is with the masking, this is without. So the nice thing about this, as you can see, it's completely optically clear. It's actually what they use for safety glasses. So it's the same thing, but a lot thicker. So what the customer does is they put this over their area. They know exactly where it is because they can see straight through it. And then they just clamp it down. Then they go over it with a hand router. This doesn't happen very often, but in this case here, I happen to have 2 polycarbonate jobs using 1/4" at the same time. So it worked out perfectly. So what I'm cutting here right now is the router stencil. Now what you'll notice is a lot of little pieces of rice. They're essentially the same consistency as rice. And the problem you have with this stuff here is that it gets absolutely everywhere. Now normally when I'm doing this, without the filming, I actually have the dust chute on the CNC router. So it picks it all up right away so I don't have an issue. But the issue I have here is because I don't have it, I have dots of rice everywhere all over the surface. Now it might not be a big deal because it's on the surface. The problem is when I'm doing polycarbonate with this bit, it's a 1/8 bit, so it's a really, really small bit. That's how I can get the little holes that I'm doing now all the way around. The problem with that is it tends to vibrate the sheet a lot. And because of that, those little pieces of rice, they get right under the sheet and they negate the vacuum system that I have. So basically what I have to do in this case here is I actually have to hold it down manually with my hands in addition to the vacuum system running. And you can see in every corner of this polycarbonate sheet, I also have screws. So every process that I have to hold this down becomes redundant because of these little pieces of rice and the vibration of the polycarbonate. Now what you'll notice is I'm following the router, but you might say, that's pretty dangerous. And actually, I don't really see the danger in here. I know exactly where the router is going. And in addition to that, when I'm holding it down, the router will push my hand out of the way. If worst comes to worst, I completely forget I got my hand near the router. It'll push my hand away because of the dust chute. And even if it doesn't, let's say I do get nicked. I get nicked by a 1/8 bit, which is not very much. So that will make my hand go away too. So I wouldn't do this with any other bit because most bits I use here in the shop would go right through your finger before you know what's going on. But in this case here, it's relatively safe what I'm doing. And I got my phone off and I got 100% attention on what I'm doing here. Now something to keep in mind is we make templates, metal, MDF, whole bunch of different materials. And something that's important is the edge quality. Because if you have a rough edge, especially if you're using a hand router, what you end up having is lots of little jumps along the edge, and that's not any good. So here you can see the edge. This edge doesn't really count because they're not going to use this. They're going to use the inside part, but it's easier just to see this edge. So you can see the edge looks totally fine. There's a little tab here that I used to hold it down. That could just be sanded off really quickly, but again, it doesn't matter what's on the outside here. It matters what's on the inside here. So the edge quality is fantastic for this. And again, if you're doing hand routering, you want something nice and smooth. Generally what we do with this kind of work, we actually make them out of mild steel. We have made them out of stainless steel as well. The nice thing about mild steel is that it's basically literally bulletproof, even more than this bulletproof glass. It'll just last basically forever. This will eventually wear out just because it's plastic at the end of the day, but you're just comparing eons of time with eons of time. It just doesn't really matter. So if you're looking for custom guitar templates, contact me at CNCKing.com. We'll make them for you and ship them right to your door.